Think eating low glycemic foods is enough to reverse insulin resistance? Not always. Some foods that barely raise your blood sugar can give you an insulin spike. So if you're not using the insulin index, you're missing a big part of the picture. Hi, I'm Jessica Green. I help women over 40 reverse insulin resistance so they can feel like themselves again, energized, sharp, and strong. Today, I'm walking you through the top foods that actually help your body become more insulin sensitive based on the insulin index, not just the glycemic index. We're talking proteins, fats, fiber-rich plants that support real metabolic healing. But before we jump in, I should explain insulin resistance happens when your cells stop responding properly to insulin, the hormone that helps shuttle glucose from your bloodstream into your cells for energy. When that happens, your body pumps out more insulin to compensate, and over time, this leads to weight gain, cravings, fatigue, hormone chaos, and eventually blood sugar issues like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. The good news is that it's reversible, and food is one of the most powerful tools that we have. Let's start here. The glycemic index tells you how fast a food raises your blood sugar, but the insulin index tells you how much insulin your body releases in response to that food. So even if your glucose doesn't spike, it could spike insulin. Some high protein foods or dairy foods, for example, have a low glycemic impact, but high insulin response. That's a problem when you're trying to reverse insulin resistance. And I'm using the Food Struct Insulin Index chart as a guide today, and I'll link it below so you could geek out like I did. So let's go category by category. Starting with protein-rich foods that don't spike insulin. We're going to start with wild-caught salmon. It's extremely low on the insulin index, high in omega-3s, and very anti-inflammatory. Plus, it supports healthy hormones and brain function. Being in the Pacific Northwest like me, this is one of my favorite types of fish. Number 2, tofu. I don't talk about this enough, but hey, it could get a bit boring eating animal proteins all the time. Firm tofu has a surprisingly low insulin index compared to other plant-based proteins like lentils or beans. It's rich in protein, magnesium, and phytoestrogens, which can support hormone balance for us women in perimenopause. Number 3 is red meats like grass-fed beef and bison. Contrary to popular belief, lean red meat has a moderate insulin index and is less insulin spiking than many carb-based health foods. Plus, it delivers iron and B12 and complete essential amino acids to stabilize blood sugar, especially when paired with those non-starchy vegetables. Number 4, pasture-raised eggs. These are low on the insulin index and packed with choline. It's perfect for balancing blood sugar at breakfast instead of starting your day with carbs. Here's a fun trick. If you're a smoothie fan, for instance, like I used to be, eating a couple of, say, over medium fried eggs on the side of your smoothie really takes the edge out of the glucose spike you'd be getting if you just had the smoothie on its own. I know this because I tested it on myself. Next up, we have high-fat foods that blunt the insulin response. And we're going to start with brie cheese. I know you weren't expecting this, were you? Brie and other soft ripened cheeses are deliciously low on the insulin index, and they're also rich in saturated fats and protein, but don't stimulate much of an insulin response, making this a perfect snack or pairing with veggies and other proteins. Number 6, avocados. I mean, really, what's more perfect than an avocado? Avocados are a perfect blend of healthy fats, fiber, and potassium, and they help blunt insulin release when added to meals. Number 7, grass-fed butter. Almost a pure fat, nearly zero insulin response. It's pretty awesome. Butter has gotten a bad rap, but it's a great way to add flavor and fat without spiking insulin. Look for grass-fed butter for higher levels of CLA and fat-soluble vitamins. Next up, let's talk about veggies that support insulin sensitivity, starting with number 8, non-starchy veggies like broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, spinach, arugula, asparagus. These are packed with fiber, low on the glycemic index and insulin index, and help feed our bacteria that are essential for metabolic health. Number 9, fermented veggies like sauerkraut or kimchi. That's a little spicy for me. Sauerkraut's great. These not only support gut health, but can improve insulin sensitivity through SCFAs, short-chain fatty acids produced when good bacteria breaks down the fiber. Plus, they're great with eggs or brie. Here's a bonus tip for you. Adding protein or fat to your carbs can lower the overall insulin response in a meal. For example, a handful of arugula with olive oil on top of some protein, way better than plain toast. Also, watch your portions. Even low insulin foods can add up if you're grazing all day. So if you've been basing your food choices only on the glycemic index, you could be spiking insulin without even realizing it. Reversing insulin resistance means watching both glucose and insulin. The insulin index gives you a deeper layer of truth. Be sure to subscribe for more science-backed support to reverse insulin resistance and thrive in midlife. And let me know in the comments what your favorite low insulin food is. Get my free Ultimate Food Guide for a quick reference for the best foods to help improve your insulin sensitivity, reduce blood sugar. The link is included below. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next week. Bye.